What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Man, it has been so long since I have made a video. Man, last time I made a video had to be like in December of 2024, and ever since then I have been knocked on my ass sick. I've gotten COVID twice, the flu, tonsillitis. Man, I've just been able to do nothing, and I haven't been able to make any videos. But this weekend is my spring break from college, and I'm headed on a massive road trip through primarily Pennsylvania and West Virginia, hitting a bunch of abandoned locations and haunted locations. And right now it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I am about to take off, and my first stop is going to be the abandoned tunnels of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Words cannot even begin to describe how cool I find this kind of thing. And once I tell you guys like the actual history of where we're going, it's going to be even cooler. So in the 1940s, the Pennsylvania Turnpike was built going from all the way from eastern Pennsylvania all the way to western. So you got to understand, Pennsylvania is a very, very big state, especially going this way in width. So for one road to go across that entire state in the 40s, that's pretty innovative. That's pretty what's the word, ahead of its time. So it really helped connect one part of the state to another. It goes all the way from New Jersey to Ohio, considering those are the states bordering Pennsylvania on each side. So obviously Pennsylvania is a very mountainous state, and parts of the turnpike literally go under the mountains through tunnels. However, by the 1960s, certain parts of the turnpike became too small. Like the 2-lane roads just caused a lot of overcrowding and a lot of traffic. Because of this, a new section of the turnpike was built and connected to the old one, and the old section of turnpike they tried to replace kind of just came abandoned. So yeah, basically ever since the 60s, this one little part of the road, I don't want to say little, but you know, it is a small fraction compared to the entire turnpike, but this one fraction has been sitting abandoned in the Pennsylvania countryside. And people like me love to go see it. I mean, the old turnpike is all graffitied. The tunnels that go into the mountains are all abandoned and graffitied. Man, I just can't wait to see what's there. The 3 tunnels I believe that are abandoned are Ray's Tunnel, Sidling Hill Tunnel, and Laurel Tunnel. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the history. The cool thing about this trip is that to actually get to the abandoned part of the turnpike, I have to actually drive all along the turnpike, all the way from New Jersey to Breezewood, Pennsylvania, which is where these abandoned sections are located. And that's going to be like a good 5 hours. So it'll be cool kind of driving on the turnpike to get to the abandoned part, you know. All right, y'all, so we out on the highway right now, still on the island. We're headed out to New York City though. We got to get out of the city, and the goal is to do that before the sun is up. You guys know how I roll. I always want to be out of the city before the sun's up, so that way we beat all the rush hour traffic. New York City skyline in the distance. Alright guys, so we're getting on the Verrazano Bridge now, which is going to take us from Brooklyn into Staten Island. Let's check that out. Alright guys, so now we are on the Goethals Bridge, crossing from Staten Island into New Jersey finally. So we are finally out of New York. Hopefully now we can just travel down 95 pretty quick and get into Pennsylvania. So we're still just cruising down Interstate 95. Hopefully we'll be in Pennsylvania soon. We probably will be, but it's still pretty dark out. It's about 5:45 in the morning now. So probably about another hour or so until the sun comes up. But yeah, pretty peaceful drive, no traffic so far, which is exactly why I leave at the time I do. Pennsylvania Turnpike, almost there. Alright, so we're on a bridge now, crossing over the Delaware River. And once we cross over this bridge, we will be in Pennsylvania on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And if you look all the way that way, you can see the skyline of Philadelphia in the distance, which is pretty cool. So we got off the highway, we're pulling up on a Wawa. First stop of the trip. Of course it's a Wawa. You know, we're in Pennsylvania. I feel like when in PA, Wawa is like a required road trip stop. Alright, so it's about 6:45 now and the sun is coming up. We're back on the PA Turnpike. I got myself some coffee because, guys, I did not sleep at all last night. I was way too excited and I did not sleep. I'm such a little kid when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I got a Wawa Double Dutch chocolate milk because you got to get a chocolate milk when you go to Wawa because they're just that good. You know what I love about like long roads, like US interstates or like turnpikes or whatever? I always found it so interesting how you could be on like one road. Let's use I-95 for example, right? So Interstate 95, you could start at the very top of the highway in Maine, in Evergreen Woods, in the mountains, follow it all the way down through the major East Coast cities, through the deep south, and then through the swamps and the tropics of Florida. I just think that's so interesting how one road, you could just drive it straight and so much land changes, culture changes, like everything just changes as you drive, and I think that's awesome. And the Pennsylvania Turnpike is kind of like that because if you drive it like we are from one end to Jersey to the other by like Ohio, it kind of goes from like still kind of like New York City, Trenton-ish suburbs to kind of like just mountains and like desolate towns in the middle. And then like in Western PA, you got like Pittsburgh, and it's kind of just like Appalachia out there more compared to here where it's more like urban and suburban. And you see the change driving along the road. And again, I think that's just a concept that's really interesting, and that's one of the reasons I love road tripping the way I do. You see how over here it's much more urban and suburban, but like if you keep going down, once you get to like central PA and once you get into like western PA, for a reference point, once you get west of Harrisburg, I feel like at that point it's kind of just like Appalachia, you know what I mean? Just like the mountains and the small towns. But like over here, it's much more like, okay, I'm kind of outside New York City in a way. So I wouldn't really say we've exactly crossed that point yet where it becomes like country and Appalachia, but as you can tell, I mean, we're starting to see deer crossing signs, a lot less buildings, a lot more trees and farms. So we're slowly getting into like the rural part of the turnpike now. All right, so now it's definitely getting a little more rural. You got the trailer parks over here. You got farms all up here, as you can tell in the back. Alright, y'all, so we've been driving for a few more hours now, and we stopped off at this rest stop right here. We're really like not in the suburbs anymore. We are like really out in the farms now, deep in Amish country. Maybe we could stop and get a whoopie pie from the, wait, was that kind of racist? But yeah, we're out here in Amish country now in the farms. And when you're on the turnpike, the farms are kind of like the middle layer between the suburbs and like the Appalachian Mountains and stuff. So next stop is the mountains, and that is the fun part. All right, so driving over this bridge, we can obviously tell that the shift from farm to mountain is kind of becoming more clear as we are headed into the mountains now. The farms are interesting, you know. I always found like flat rural farmland interesting, you know. That's why next year I'm excited to drive through like the heartlands of the Midwest and stuff. But you know, right now you kind of get a little taste of that. Pennsylvania is very, very heavy on farms, especially in like the whole like outside of Philadelphia, southeast corner of the state area. And it's especially interesting there because a lot of it is Amish owned. So if you guys know anything about Amish country, that's very intense down in southeast Pennsylvania. And it kind of just adds to the whole culture of the region and makes it more unique than it already would be. But I mean, you know, farmland, Appalachia, which is coming up. I think Appalachia is a lot cooler. You guys know how much I love the Appalachian Mountains, so it's gonna be good to be back. And there we have it, y'all. The grand reveal of the Appalachian Mountains in the distance. Alright guys, so for the past half hour it's been like a mix of like mountains and just beat up farmland, but I think we're at the point now where we're kind of just in the mountains because we're actually coming up on Blue Mountain, which is one of the first, if you're coming from this way, tunnels that go through the mountain. And I actually want to show you guys this because this is like kind of like a current tunnel that's working. And I don't mean a tunnel that's abandoned and that we're exploring. I mean a tunnel that's actually in full functioning service and is part of the new Pennsylvania Turnpike. And it'll be interesting to see when we're in there because it's basically what we're going to be exploring, just, you know, not abandoned. Alright y'all, so here it is, the Blue Mountain Tunnel. Pretty cool. So this is what it looks like. This is what the PA Turnpike tunnels actually look like. You just go under the mountains. And this is pretty much exactly how it used to be back in the day, but it got so small that it caused overcrowding and traffic, and that's why the section of the turnpike that we're going to be exploring today became abandoned. And it's basically a tunnel, a couple tunnels just like this that are just sitting there deserted. So that should be really, really cool to see. So I guess you could say, if you want, these are the tunnels that kind of replaced the tunnels that we're going to be exploring. However, we're still a good like half hour away from those, so maybe not this exact tunnel, but you get the point. And then literally right as we get out of that mountain, we're in Kittatinny Mountain Tunnel. They come right after one another like that. Alright, it looks like we're done for tunnels, at least for right now. Alright, so about 10-ish minutes later, we got another one. Tuscarora Mountain. I think this is so cool. Oh geez, this one's all like white and modern inside. The other ones were all like yellow and warm. I also do just want to let you guys know that the tunnel that we're going to be exploring is in Breezewood, Pennsylvania. It's going to be the Rays Hill Tunnel. However, like I said, it's an entire portion of road that went abandoned. So, parallel, like I think a little bit behind these mountains right here, the abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike does go this way as well. Like, we're not going to be going down this far, we're going to be going up a little bit more. But technically we're driving parallel to it right now, past the other tunnels on the other side of the mountain. So if I was to guess, right now where we are on this part of the turnpike, this is the new part. Considering that, you know, running parallel, the abandoned part is right through those woods, I'd imagine that this is the new part that they abandoned that part for. So it's kind of interesting knowing that, you know. Like just driving over like this little portion, I bet a lot of people don't know the history behind it and what lurks over yonder. Guys, man, I'm telling you, every time we get off the highway today and all along the highway, there's freaking pay tolls everywhere. Huge Trump Pence sign. I find politics and like political geography so interesting. It's crazy. Like, we're deep in Trump country right now. I mean, you'd think they changed the sign to Trump Vance since it's, you know, 2025 now, but whatever. I guess it's from last election. But yeah, my point is that they're, you know, charging everyone getting off the highway, and it's annoying. All right, y'all, so here it is, the abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike. I didn't know we could bring our car up here. I thought we had to park down there, but that's pretty cool. I do think this is the turnpike though, like this literal road right here. So, all right guys, we are here. The abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike. All right, y'all, so we are parked. Over here you can see the old, man, whatchamacallit, like the things on the side of the road to prevent the cars from going off into the woods, I guess. So I guess this is kind of like the grand entrance. Gotta squeeze through this right here. I just love all the graffiti. So cool. Try not to get any graffiti that's gonna get me in trouble though. Like that. This is awesome, y'all. This is like, I don't even know. This is so cool. This right here, and I'm assuming that, oh, I think I see the layout here. Actually, it's this looks like 2 lanes, right? Like maybe that was 1 lane with cars going that way, and this was another lane with cars going this way, and this is it. This is the old abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike. It looks like a highway, right? You guys could kind of tell the layout of it. All the graffiti everywhere. Man, oh man. Hands down, best graffiti yet on this highway. Peter Griffin, gotta love it. You guys gotta understand that this road is completely deserted in the middle of the Pennsylvania mountains, the woods, in the middle of nowhere. Like, do you know how cool this is right now? And like, it's not just like in the woods, it's in Appalachia, dude. So it just adds like a sense of creepy to it. Wow, I guess these guys broke up. Rest in peace. It's just such an interesting thing to know that I'm walking on like an abandoned highway. You know, like this used to be a road that people used to drive on every day, the way I was just driving on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and now it's okay. And now it's just completely deserted. It's so interesting. I'd be showing so much more of this graffiti on the road, but 75% of it is so explicit and like inappropriate. If I show it, I'm gonna get flagged, and I don't want to do that. So just try to imagine what it says. Look at this little section where it kind of goes up a little bit. All right, so we got a wild dog situation. I can't tell if they're aggressive or not, but they're still wild dogs, and that's something to look out for.
Right, keep walking away.
Alright, well, they spent the last 15 minutes barking at us. There they are. I'm not sure if they're wild dogs or if they like belong to some hillbilly in the woods over there. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's you know, walking in the woods, you see a pack of dogs like that with no owner. It's not really the best thing you want to run into. I mean, that situation could have been worse, especially with that big dude right there. But this could still play out very badly, but we'll see what happens. We're on a mission right now. We can't let no dogs stop it. Look at this dude, bro. Get out of the road. Guys, check this out. So this is like the railing to the highway here. Just like, I think I hear their owners calling them back. Lunchtime, buddies. You guys better go back. But yeah, no, this is like the railing preventing people from going over the side of the road. Pretty interesting. Look at these guys. Of course it's the Chihuahua with the biggest fucking mouth. Yep, there they go. Through the woods and back up the hills to that little house and trailer up there. To their redneck ass owners. I hear the cigarette voice calling them from the trees. Get back up here. Oh man, gotta love urbex, man. Urban exploration, you never know what's gonna happen. All right, but back to the mission. The tunnel should be kind of around this corner. We're kind of in a different part of it now. We got this thing, which wasn't there prior. And the graffiti is more like prevalent. I guess this part of the road is a little bit better condition than where we parked. It's amazing though, man. Like those dogs, it was like a pit bull boxer mix, and then there was a chihuahua and like a poodle. And the chihuahua and the poodle were like the loudest and most like aggressive. Like chihuahua this big, like bro, I will literally kick you if you run at me. Pitbull, I mean, I don't know, man. There might not be much I can do in that situation, but yeah, Chihuahua, I could get rid of it. And after walking the abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike, we found it. The abandoned Rays Hill Tunnel. I just think it's so cool how, like, when you look at this right here, like this whole scene, you could tell this used to be like a bridge, you know, for the old PA Turnpike. And then there's the tunnel up there, kind of just like the one we were just driving on and driving through. But it's so interesting. Check out this view, man. Look at that, man. That is menacing as hell. Freaking awesome. Check this out, guys. You could even right here see the dividing line between the two lanes. And it's interesting because on the PA Turnpike now, like on both sides, you have like 2-3 different lanes for cars. Here, it's only one, so I could definitely see why they needed to build bigger. This is so cool. I think the walls are so interesting that used to like divide the highway from the hill or whatever. Check this out. Telephone pole. That's crazy, or a light pole or something like that. With a penis on it. And here we are at the very, very bottom. All right, guys, so we are going in. All this graffiti is awesome. Guys, check out that. All right, I'm heading there, but on the way out, I want to check out the... Bro, my name. I want to kind of check out this tunnel first before we go in whatever room that was. Probably some kind of ex-mechanical room or something like that. Wow. I have a light with me to look in little thingy-majiggies like that. I was honestly expecting to see like rats or something in there, something dead or something sleeping. But nope. Just empty alcohol bottles, of course. Insane, man. People used to drive through this, and now it's just gone. Abandoned, lost. If you guys look up, there's the other end of the tunnel. But like in here, it's so much darker than it appears on my camera. And it literally looks like a portal to another dimension. Like, I guess that's a little bit better what you guys see right now, but bro, that is like insane. That's creepy. Alright, so we're kind of like in the dead center of the tunnel right now. If I light it up. Alright guys, so the end of the tunnel is over there, and if you get to the end of the tunnel, you'll keep walking down a highway like we just walked on, to another tunnel, to another highway, to another tunnel, and that's pretty much it. However, I have a big road trip planned, and I can't spend all day doing one thing because I have 1,000 different plans. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head back and we're gonna check out that other room, and then we're gonna head to our next location, which will be in another video. Alright, y'all, so we made it back from the tunnel. Power walker passed us. It was a lonesome girl, and I felt really bad. But we're cool. Alright, let's check this room out. Oh, man. Incredible. Beautiful. Whoa. So, if I had to guess, this used to be some kind of like mechanical room for the tunnel, or some kind of room where the workers would go. So here's a staircase. I'm not gonna go up that. That's fucking sketchy. I'm not doing that. Over here, Lord knows. Oh shit. Something right there. Elevator shaft, maybe? I don't think so. But that looks something like that. Cool. Alright guys, oh my god, this wind is violating me right now. So, we did it. We completed the tunnel. Well, not completed the tunnel, but we saw the tunnel. And that was my goal. Look at that, man. Alright y'all, so we're on the way back. We're passing the house again with the dogs. Hopefully they don't come back down. Like I said, I doubt they're wild dogs, but they're still dogs. And that's something you gotta be careful about. But yeah, that situation could have went way worse, man. That could have been like a pack of 3 pit bulls, and they could have been really aggressive, and that would have sucked. So 2 Pennsylvania game wardens, I guess, park ranger. I don't know what those guys are. I don't know if they're with the sheriff's department or if they're like their own kind of unit of like environmental or whatever, but they're just like driving on this road. I didn't even know you could get cars on this road. I thought they were like blocked off from cars on both ends, but they pulled up on us. They pulled up on the woman in front of us, and they're just talking to people. They were really nice, just making sure everyone wasn't up to no good, making sure everyone was all right. Oh, yo, there it is, the gate, headed back out to the cars. So, one last look at the turnpike. All right, guys, well, we got off the abandoned PA turnpike. We got into like the town of Breezewood right now. We're at this little rest stop called like Gateway Food Court, Travel Plaza, whatever. It was actually pretty cool inside. But as usual, at the end of most of my videos like this, I'm just stunned. I don't even know what to say. Like, that was just so cool, seeing something like that. Like a road that once was, but is no longer. You know, a road like the one I was driving on all day. I'm trying to imagine like the turnpike I was driving on this entire morning becoming abandoned like that. And then nature takes over, graffiti takes over, and everything just kind of deteriorates after a while. You know, just the history of that, walking on that road, being in that tunnel, knowing that it was once a road where people used to drive. Like, I don't know, just stuff like that really interests me, and seeing that was awesome, and I'm so glad I could share that with y'all. So if you guys enjoyed this adventure, be sure to check out my channel for more adventures like the next one I'm going on right now. I'll see you guys in the next video.